Something else I'll do while I have the place to myself and to start this video off. See if you guys an update on the rest of the place. So you haven't seen the Sony A80J since it's been out of its box. So that's that baby. It's the new stand we got from Ashley. The TV fits on it pretty nicely. Yeah, I could mount it or whatever, but I didn't really see the point. But yeah, it takes up that whole wall, pretty much. The only issues I'm really having with it is it's extremely difficult to get the TV to turn on or off with the remote. I'm pretty sure it's a remote issue because when I tell Google to turn it on, it's fine most of the time. The power button is sticky. It doesn't want to work half the time. All the other buttons, no problem at all. And it's not even like it's a waking up issue because half the time it doesn't want to turn it off either. So I need to contact Sony support at some point and see if they can send me a new remote. But this is our living room. So we got the wife's desk over there. It's gonna be cluttered because we have a lot of pops and cool things, but it's not normally gonna be that cluttered. You know, nothing's in its final form yet. So these are the glass tables that I've had forever that went with my old couch. There's a new cat down there. Hi, Simba. So, and then we got these shelves over here at Meyer. It's actually two single shelves that I put next to each other. Yeah, we got Halloween stuff up here and there. So we got like bats over on this wall. And a little nightmare thing. And we have a garland that I keep having to pick up because somebody likes eating it. And we got bats going all up on this wall. And we got lights outside and blood splatters on the door. And, yeah, zombie door frame. Yeah, your typical Halloween crap. But that's this floor's update. Since we never got to it in the last video, I guess at this point, oh, our poor empty fish tank. We'll get a fish for him again someday, probably soon, sometime today or tomorrow. But yeah, we never got to the measurements in the last video, so since it's still my day off, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that real quick. My goal is to try to get a baseline measurement for all of the channels, and I want to compare the prime elevations with the port open versus closed. Not that that's a situation most people are ever going to be in, but I'm curious how they perform, and just for my own sense, if I need to put a hole or something in it to make them port it again, I can. But one of the reasons I didn't mind block on the port is that will help stop sound from coming up here if it's not getting through the port, into the baseboard, floorboard. So I think those are the main goals as far as measurements today. And then once that's done, which shouldn't take super long, we'll go ahead and probably finish up the ceiling and maybe start working on some lighting. I might go through an Odyssey run. I guess we'll see how much time I eat up doing the other stuff and what kind of mood I'm in. But yep, there's this floor. I love this TV. And, I thought it was going to go back up in price. It never did. Matter of fact, it's about to go on sale. I think it already has at like Sam's or Costco or something. But, whatever. I'm happy with it. Just got to get that remote fixed. Alright, see you downstairs for measurements. Oh, now that I turned the video on, you're gonna be all lazy about it? There you go. Who says 13-year-old cats don't play? He's pretty energetic for an old man. I mean, present example notwithstanding, but he jumps around and bounces around a lot. We did just wake up, so that's probably part of it. Well, before we get into measurements, I don't know what's going on with this section. I can't screw it. I can't drill it. It sounds different. It's obviously not hollow. If I had a different bit or something a little sharper, I could probably get through it, but with what I currently have, I can't get into this thing. It worked on the front, at least I thought it did. So I guess I'm gonna have to use a crap ton of the red tape and pull these squares off so it's got a consistent mounting pressure and distance. Guess we'll just give that a shot, otherwise I don't know what I'm gonna do. I never saw this before either. Every other surface I've pulled these off of, they've pulled off cleanly. This one's leaving like the residue behind, and it's actually like, that's the sticky part of it. So it sticks to the duct really good. They're just not sticking to the back of the panel enough because there's not enough pressure to keep them there. So I guess I'm gonna try to leave those back too. Plus that'll even out the height anyway to meet up with that piece. And just use a bunch of the red on the front. Alright, if that doesn't work, I don't know what will. The only downside is once I do this, I don't want to pull it back off again. And I've been wondering about redoing this piece because I started going below the grade over here and I didn't over here, so you can kind of see this edge. I didn't really like it and I thought about maybe redoing it, but I really don't have that many pieces spare to play with, so I don't know. I might just have to wing it and hope for the best. Screw it, I'm gonna redo it for a couple of reasons. First off, I just also noticed the rest of these down here are uncut edges. When I did this piece, I cut at the top, so the top is the uncut edge and the bottom is the cut edge. It's also a little bit longer now because when I put this piece in, it shifted over a smidge. And this also has 2 screw holes in it now that it doesn't need since I can't screw it up there. So for all those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and redo this piece. And then if I have one less piece in the back, I have one less piece in the back. It's in the front. This is kind of an important, excuse me, kind of an important piece to make it look decent. Also because I do have, you know, top edge cut versus bottom edge cut. The squares aren't lining up great. So yeah, I'm going to recut this piece. I don't know if it was maybe the other screws, but these are having a lot harder time getting to the sheet metal than I remember. But I got these 2 pieces secured at least with some struggle. This one shifted a little. I don't want to have to redo it. Because like I said, I'd have to redo the hole and they'd be right next to each other. It's not worth it. I guess I could move the screw within the piece. But anyways, probably fine. I was never really happy with how this end cap fit anyway. It had a gap here, and now it's got an even bigger gap if I line this up. So I guess I can use that one piece that I'm salvaging and redoing, or some other piece of scrap. I got a couple options to recut this piece. So in the end, I think it's going to look better. I swear at some point we're going to get the measurements. Although I think I'm going to take a breakfast break because I'm hungry. Oh, that's been a frustrating, like, hour or so. I'm giving up on the ceiling for now. And that's not even why it's frustrating. A few days ago, I promised I was going to do the dishes, so I figured I might as well go ahead and do that. So after breakfast, I did the dishes. That was all fine. And then, yeah, I sat down, hooked up the laptop, it was initially good. Playing around with the audio output, making sure that that was good. And then all of a sudden the projector turns off. I think it's going to sleep after a half hour, which is the longest I can set it. Not really sure why it's going to sleep. I'm doing stuff with the computer. I'm outputting video. It's just going on a standby for whatever reason. And then ever since that first time I went on the standby, I can't get the displays to duplicate. Now, I've had this issue with this laptop before where it doesn't always play nice with the HDMI out. The screen is a weird resolution, so that might be part of it. Maybe it's just fighting with the compatibility. It's 1600 by 900. I don't know, but that's not really the point. The point is to get the audio audio signals output correctly so we can get these measurements done. So I turned off the sleep. We'll see if that makes the projector stay on. I'm outputting just to the projector, which I was doing basically for you guys. I figured that would be easier to see and better looking than the laptop screen. Although honestly, thinking about it, it's going to be whatever size it's going to be in the frame, so it doesn't really matter if it's on the projector or the screen. Honestly, considering it's direct view, the laptop might be better. It's really easier for me. But in any event, so I'm going to get this going because it's already after 5. I was going to say it's 4:20 when I sat down with the laptop at 4:20, but that joke has sailed. So let's make sure that this at least has what I want. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this on the laptop because I can't really see that from here, unfortunately. That's just what I want. Yeah, okay, there it is. Left, still just left and right. Yeah, let's see if there's some configuration I can do in here to give me the rest of my channels. But we're getting close to actually being able to do stuff. Let me poke at this a little bit and see if I can get multiple channels showing up in RU. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to be switching cables left and right. There should be a way to test all the channels. Or at least the bed 7. I mean, this is Windows 7. Because this laptop's like way old. So I know it's not going to do Atmos or anything. But I should at least be able to get 7.1 out of the deal. Let me poke around some more. Alright, after another frustrating 46 minutes or so, we finally got somewhere. I never did download the ASIO drivers because I heard that if you could use Java, just do that because sometimes they're iffy. But apparently to get HDMI audio with multi-channel, you need to do that. So I downloaded that. And then I had to figure out how to configure it, which took some additional reading because it's not very intuitive. In addition, the projector turned off again. But I don't think it's its fault, because every time the projector turned off, I also lost my base 5 channels. I just got my subwoofer. So I went over to the amp rack and noticed that the MM7055 was turned off. So I think it was turning off for some reason. Again, not really sure why. Possibly due to no signal, because I wasn't really doing anything with music or anything. So if it was turning off, and then it might be sending a signal down to turn off the projector because of HDMI, CEC, and all that fun stuff. But I don't really need the projector for what I'm doing because I decided I'm just going to do it on the computer anyway. One thing you may have noticed is I am entirely too close. I pushed the couch forward so I can go ahead and work on the ceiling panels behind it without having to reach over it. And yeah, I'm totally in the projector beam, so this is not really a thing I could do 2 rows with. Not unless I make them real tight, because this is way too far forward. I mean, it looks good. I don't mind being this close to the screen, but I'm in the way of the projector. Alright, so now that that's all squared away, I'm going to go ahead and run through some measurements. I'll come back and show you the graphs. You know, as I sit down here in the dark and the quiet, I'm hearing water running and like the turning of a valve. And no one else is in the house. So it's got to be one of the neighbors left or right. Which means maybe more sound transitions between the walls than I realize. Although no one's complained about the music or the audio yet. So I don't know if I'm just pissing everybody off and they're not telling me. In any event, I got most of the measurements done. So this is... I'm not sure if it's better or worse than the black. Hopefully it's better. But these are the four... There you go. These are the four surround channels. They all track pretty consistently. So again, I'm not sure what Odyssey was doing with the whole crossing over, some at like 80 and some at like 120 or whatever it was doing. That seemed weird. Here is the left. And the center. And the right. Let me turn off some of these guys just to make it a little easier. And we'll leave one up just kind of as a reference point. So you can see the left and the right, because of their different crossover, because they're expecting at least some of the bass to go to the subwoofer, which is not powered and therefore not working. Their bass plummets down here around, 100 hertz, 80 hertz or so. And the center, which does not have any non-active drivers, because it's all considered passive, is up here where it should be. So I'll just turn it off for a second. So there's the left, center, and right. Above, 100, they're all pretty much fine. And the left and the right are being consistent with each other, which makes sense. So yeah, I'll probably cross everything over probably at 80, maybe 100 for the left and right, and 80 for the center. I think it's probably better to keep them consistent, but at the same time I don't want to lose output kind of in the middle there. So we'll have to play around and see which sounds better or worse or whatever and different. Surrounds versus the rest of them all look fine. They're all kind of in the same ballpark. So we'll have to see what I want to do with that. Also, just for fun, there's the subwoofer. So that definitely fills in up on top, where it needs, and then plummets around 300 hertz, which again, you don't play your subwoofer that hot anyway. But that should blend nicely. Alright, so that looks like everybody. Alright, so that gives you some space just to kind of see the relative performance. So now I need to move some wiring around so I can test the 4 Atmos, which is important because I specifically want to go ahead and check the ported versus not ported on the elevation. And I shall be right back. I'm not really seeing the glare like you guys are, so I'll have to see how that looks in post. See if that's actually readable or not. Let's look like a good shot of it though. Also, the projector and the 7055 turned off again. I had to turn the projector back on because I had to make sure I set the speakers to large and disabled Odyssey, which I didn't do, but I knew I had to. I just never bothered turning it back off, and it turned off on its own again. So I gotta double check the settings, as few as there are of the 7055. There is an option for it to go to sleep, but there's no menus or anything. You have to do it all with like front panel button presses. So I gotta turn that off because I mean it was doing some levels of audio. Granted, not a lot. Not enough to keep it on, I think. And I think that must have been what turned off, not the projector as the trigger. I'm not really sure. Also, as much as I like having the shelves back there, I do miss having unrestricted access to the back of the amplifier rack. It's a lot harder to get like HDMI cords moved and check speaker cables and stuff with it there. I'd like the storage, and how often do I need to get back there? But just a point of concern or inconvenience in any event. Now let me go ahead and get these top 4 speakers tested and add them to the graph. It's also almost 6:30 for anyone who's keeping track. Time flies when you're having fun. Well, that took some doing, but I got the top speakers standing in place for my bed speakers, and those are the measurements for them. Also, hopefully you can see that a little better. Looks like the shimmer I'm seeing on the screen is actually generated from the laptop, even though I don't see it in person. And that the reflection from the relay bulb, which I have turned off right now, so not sure what's up with that. Like I said, hopefully it looks fine on an actual monitor. But there's one that's highlighted here, the very top one, is the rear right prime elevation. That is the one with the port still exposed. The other 3 have their ports covered with the ceiling tiles and some foam behind them. So yeah, they look pretty much the same. That one definitely is the loudest out of all of them by a good couple of dB for sure. Like I said, we can fix that with EQ and level adjust. And honestly, that's going to come down a few dB when I plug the hole anyway. Which I guess is a good test, because now I have a before, and now I can get an after when I do put the ceiling tile up, remeasure it and see just how much it drops, and if the shape of it changes any. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. Even on the low end, I thought maybe there'd be a bump over the other speakers, below like 80 or 100. And not so much. 3 of them track pretty close. One of them, the front left, for some reason, has a more of a attenuation there than the other ones do. Not really sure why. Like I said, Odyssey and all that should all be turned off. But in any event, it's tracking pretty close to 2 other ones that are sealed off, so that doesn't really seem to be impacting it any. So I'm gonna go put this back the way it was. I guess we'll turn everything on here just to have them. But yeah, I'm not unhappy with the way that it looks as far as the response with it ported and or sealed. So, and like I said, even if it did change a little bit, it wasn't going to be enough for me to really worry about messing with dealing with the holes, because I want the separation with the speakers and everything from upstairs. So that's what we got. Even pre Odyssey, things are smooth-ish. That will get smoothed out once the Odyssey and stuff is running again. Let me turn this up off since it's the outlier. But yeah, I think we can fix that with EQ. The currents and stuff don't seem to really hurt my treble at all. Not substantially anyway. So yeah, I think we're going to call that good. Measurements are done for right now. I'm going to go ahead and play with some more ceiling tiles. Hopefully getting that done. Wife should be home in about a half hour though, so I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to run through those. And then I should be able to retest just that one speaker. Since I'm not doing anything auto with the audio right now, I'll probably just leave it set up the way it is so I can easily test that without having to move cables back and forth multiple times. I did have to move the rack, but fortunately the metal side's real nice on concrete, so that was easier than trying to do it with the shelf. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish off the ceiling, and then that should be the next thing you see. And just one quick thing. I actually paid attention this time to what level I was at when I was recording these, and I had the AVR set to -20. But when I went back into the app just now, it was on -40. So that seems a little weird. I think it's possible that the last 4 measurements, which are all these down here, the 3 lowest ones, outside of this one, which is the loudest of the, sorry, this one, where are you? That one, which is the loudest of the top speakers. All the other 3 are a lot lower. So I don't know why or when that would have changed. But that might explain why all of those are kind of shifted down. So I think I'm going to retest those real quick back on 20 and see where that puts them. Okay, I remeasured and that looks better. So the ones up here are the +20. The ones down here, well, -20. The ones down here are the 40s. So if I pull off the 40s, so we just have the 20s for the tops. You can see where we're at there. And then in relation to everything else, they're all a lot more consistent now. No, I don't need that one. So yeah, they're more or less in line, give or take. The left seems to be the lowest out of all of them, but just on the base end. You know, above 100, they're all pretty dang close. So yeah, that's that. That's going to be the final one. Until I go ahead and cover that port. And then I'll retest it and compare them with each other. But I wanted to get them all at 20, so I finally have a consistent measurement and I know where it's at. And back to ceiling. So I only have 10 tiles left to be done, which is good because I only have 18 tiles left. So that leaves me 8 to recut that piece and do this as far back as I can go, which I think might just be here. I doubt this is going to get done, but I guess we'll see. And they are partial tiles, but it's more than a half tile, so yeah, we'll just have to see. Alright, just opened my last pack of 3M squares. I got 1 tile, 2 packs, 5 squares to go. About to cut out for the speaker again. You know how fun that is. But that should be the last thing I need to cut. Cutting around that piece of wood was super easy. And apparently I lied. That valve is not for my outside water spigot. I mean, it goes to the spigot. But the actual cutoff for the spigot is over here. So I don't actually have to worry about that valve. At least not on a frequent basis. But that got me thinking, especially with, granted, the minimal, but nonetheless the pressure I'm putting on this pipe. So I really wish I knew where the main shutoff for the house was. It must be outside because I looked everywhere that I could find and I didn't see any in here. So it's a little disconcerting. Hopefully I never need it. Also, I should expect it, but it gets me every time how much quieter it is on this side versus just on the other side of the wall. Such a huge difference. It's kind of amazing. Alright, time for the last speaker. That one I did perfect. That one I did pretty okay. Just one little corner was off that I had to tape and fix later. This one I'm not super proud of. I had to do a whole big corner. I mean, I still don't think you're going to see it most of the time. It's kind of in shadow and in the back. But still, one more chance to do it amazing. Let's see how close I can get it. Also, 3 panels left. Well, that's done. It was not as easy as I remember the first one being. I must have just got lucky or something. I don't know. I also finally poked myself with the box cutter. Took off a little chunk of skin, not enough to actually bleed or anything, so that's good. And I had the same thing happen on this side that I had happen on the other side, which I thought I was trying really hard not to do. But I got a chunk missing. It's hard to do without a template, and I don't really have the pieces to do a template. So I'll find that chunk, tape it in like I did before, and you won't even notice it. It's in the very back, so whatever. I tried. Huh. This whole piece can just go right back in. Didn't need to cut it at all. I guess I went right when I went left or whatever. I'll just tape it and you'll never see it. Okay, I guess cutting that piece wasn't totally in vain, because when I taped it, I couldn't get it back on there, or back in there with the piece attached. It slots in just fine from the back, so I'm just gonna have to pressure fit it. And I got a beam right there, so I'll probably screw it in too. But it's up. Okay, that was weird. The GoPro wouldn't randomly all of a sudden turn on. I had to actually pull the battery and put it back in for it to actually come back. Anyway, ta-da! I actually put another piece of this as a scrap piece underneath it, because there's a beam there, but there's no wood or cardboard or anything, so the height was off. But that basically fixed the height. I think that's a decent patch job. Yeah, there's a little slice in it, but I mean, it's behind the speaker, all the way in the back row, behind the couch. Who's gonna see it? Also, apparently I have 2 pieces left, not just one. So close. Well, crap. I'm not out of the woods yet. I have one more thing to cut. The curtain rod bracket. That's a pretty easy, simple slice, though. I have 3.5 sheets of the foam squares left, so almost the whole pack. This is the first sheet from that pack. It's about half gone. So I still got the 7 tiles for here. I thought I had said 8, so I guess I miscounted somewhere along the lines, unless I misplaced one somewhere. I think I just miscounted though. So yep, 7 left for here. One's for that. So 6, I guess. So this will probably be scraps. 2, 4, 6. So I think this will be the last row. More than likely. That means these 3. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, the very last row could be that stuff over there, which is fine because it doesn't match the ceiling.
But then what do I do with the middle two? I don't know. I can't leave it. So I'll have to come up with something. Also, I mean, I was planning on doing something with this back piece anyway, even before the foam. But I kind of really need to, because I can't just leave that cardboard hanging out like that. So, like I said, that'll probably be these foam dudes. Although, if I do have to order another package of something, and I've double checked, the two styles that I have are out and have been probably forever. I might do that there too. I just don't know how I can do something different there without it looking stupid. Grumble, grumble. So close. Oh, we'll figure it out. Dun, 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 dun. Or something along those lines. Quest complete. The ceiling is done. That was really bad. Done. A little better. Still got the back row. Still got that. That's not technically ceiling though, so whatever. But there you go. Also, finally lost the screw. Very last screw I was putting in fell. I think behind the cabinet. Maybe it'll turn up in front somewhere. Maybe it won't. But I ain't digging for it. If it's back there, it's sacrificed to the floor gods. The other thought I had is if I do the cushy foam back here, these guys, they are gonna have to be cut around the speaker, which is unfortunate because these things don't cut super nice. Even if I do like another flat panel, I'll probably have to cut around the brackets since they're kind of halfway between. But I'm less worried about that right now. We'll figure something out for that. My bigger concern at the moment is over there. So I'll go as far as I can with the 7 I got. And try to figure out what the best method is. But my main part is done. I don't have to look up very much more. Also, I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but we are gonna do something with these light bulbs. The wife had a good idea of getting some kind of like paper lantern or cone to put over them. Something to kind of diffuse the light, hide the socket, make them a little less harsh. So that's a good idea. That's something we'll look for and try to implement semi-soon. But I'm going to be out there in the movie, so it doesn't matter that much. It's more for the entry aesthetics. But yay, hand clap. The ceiling is finished-ish. Side note, this is also the second time this guy's lost his head. When I was putting it away, I noticed it was missing. I had no idea where it went. I just noticed it was missing again. One time I found it on the floor under the couch. This time it was just under the floor. I'd blame the cat, but I'm pretty sure he's been down here snoozing this whole time, this time at least. So I don't think this time was his fault. And if this time wasn't his fault, then last time might not have been his fault either. So I don't know. Anyway, cutting the piece for that. So at least from here down's done. Well, from here down, yeah. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I am not off tonight. The wife is off tonight. But I need to get some sleep. I gotta be up in 7 hours. I should already be in bed. I think this is gonna be the last piece I'll do. I also think that's going to be where this video is going to finish. I'm sure it's fairly long at this point between the measurements at the beginning and screwing around with the ceiling for most of the day. It's also a good stopping point. I guess really the only other thing I had wanted to show, which I'll go ahead and do here real quick, is show the last measurement with that last speaker ported so I can directly compare the same channel with the port blocked and with the port being open. That'll close it out. I don't even think I'm going to rewire the channels tonight. That can be some other day. It's not that important. I'm not going to watch a movie today or tomorrow. So let me get this thing cut. Let me go ahead and get that measurement. And then let me go to bed. It's louder. How's that possible? Well, first off, I think I figured out why it reset to 40 before. 40 is my default when I turn the amp on. So it must have turned off and turned back on at some point in between measurements. Probably when the projector turned off. But yeah, that should be what it is now. And that should have been what it was when I verified the volume was 20, which I also just did now. So I'm not sure why it's louder. I swear it made it quieter. Just anecdotally listening to it. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess it doesn't really matter. It certainly sounded loud enough on negative 20, just fine. So I guess ported or unported doesn't really make much difference, at least not in my context. So like I said, we'll call it there. Unless you really want to see that last panel put up. You've already set it up. It doesn't make that much of a difference. It's over. We're going to call it here. So thanks for watching. Definitely winding this thing down. Next time I'll probably have the couch back. I'll have the place cleaned back up. Put the new runner down. And I guess we'll do we'll do Odyssey. Now that the acoustics are essentially done. And I learned some things the first time I did it. And I have all my bass measurements. We can go through Odyssey. Make sure we do it properly this time. And then we can actually compare post-Odyssey roux and pre-Odyssey roux, with the room staying essentially the same. And I'll probably finish up that duct somewhere in the middle of that, whether at the end or the beginning. Probably somewhere in the beginning. I want to get that done. Anyway, good night. Thanks for hanging in there. And we'll have a reveal pretty dang soon. Have a good one. I'll show it to you anyway. If that doesn't hold it, I don't know what will. I'm glad I did it. It looks a lot better. The squares line up a lot better. On the bottom and the side, there's no extra screw holes. The edges overlap correctly. It looks way better. So, like I said, one extra piece here or there wasn't gonna make that much of a difference anyway, so there you go.